Hello, this is Alara Basul with World in 2 Minutes, bringing you the latest developments around the world. Our first story is from Ukraine. NATO chief Anders Fogh Rasmussen urged Russia to step back from the brink during a visit to Kiev on Thursday. He vowed support for Ukraine as fears mounted that Moscow was preparing to send troops into the conflict-torn east of the country. His visit came as the center of the main rebel bastion Donetsk was hit by sustained bombardment for the first time in 4 months of fighting, and a dozen civilians were killed around the region. Mexico has passed laws to open its oil, gas and electric industries to private and foreign investors of 76 years of state control. Now comes the hard part. Experts say Mexico's hope for tens of billions of dollars in outside investment and possibly a shale gas boom like the one occurring across the border in Texas hinge onto being able to design the kind of tenders, contracts and concessions that would actually prove attractive to companies that already have their hands full drilling in deep sea waters and hydrofracking elsewhere. Authorities say fewer unaccompanied immigrant children are crossing the US-Mexico border, allowing the federal government to close the temporary shelters that are hurriedly opened to handle the surge. The Department of Homeland Security released data Thursday showing that about 5,500 unaccompanied children were arrested in July, barely half the number in May and June, and the fewest children arrested in a month since February. Similarly, arrests of parents with children dropped by more than half last month, to just over 7,400. Though there is a Russian ban on most food imports from the West, Russian consumers may feel it more than Western farmers. The biggest impact could be on Russian consumers. According to figures from the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, Russia received up to 55% of its agricultural imports, almost half of Russia's meat imports from the countries it has so far sanctioned. About 95% of Russia's dairy imports last year came from countries it has now sanctioned, with its biggest suppliers until now being Ukraine, the Netherlands, Germany, Lithuania, Finland and Poland. And that brings us to the end of World in 2 Minutes. You can always log on to trtworld.com for the latest. Until we meet again, goodbye.